The origins of Saint Kelkannis Evisser are humble, yet they set the foundation for a legacy that would span millennia. Born into the rigid hierarchy of the Imperium on the oceanic world of Solshan 19th, Evisser's early life was unremarkable. As an adept of the administratum, he served as one cog among countless others, performing the bureaucratic duties that maintained the grinding machinery of imperial governance. Yet, it was within this mundanity that the seeds of his transformation were sown. Solshan 19th, an isolated world on the far western edge of the segmentum solar, was not a planet of wealth or renown. Its value lay in its proximity to key trade routes and its vast aquatic resources, supporting hive cities that clung to artificial platforms amidst endless seas. The people of Solshan 19th were dutiful, their faith in the Emperor a source of stoic resilience in the face of an unyielding and often indifferent galaxy. Evisser embodied this spirit, a man defined by diligence and faith, though he had yet to grasp the destiny that awaited him. This changed with the arrival of an Orc Wa. A tide of green-skinned barbarity descended upon Solshan 99, shattering its fragile peace. The Orcs' crude brutality left cities burning and seas choked with the detritus of war. It was amidst this chaos that Evisser's transformation began. In the aftermath of the invasion, when the Orcs had been driven off at great cost, Evisser emerged not as a broken man, but as one profoundly changed. Witnessing the devastation wrought upon his homeworld, he experienced what he would later describe as a vision of the Emperor's divine will. He spoke of a radiant figure appearing to him amid the ashes, a being of indescribable power who guided his heart toward a singular purpose: to rekindle faith in the Emperor across the stars. This vision marked the beginning of a pilgrimage that would take him far beyond Solshan 19, spreading the light of the imperial creed to distant worlds. Though initially dismissed as the delusions of a broken man, Evisser's fervour began to attract followers. His ability to inspire others with his unwavering belief in the Emperor's divinity set him apart from the mundane ranks of administratum adepts. His pilgrimage would soon grow into something far greater, a trail of faith and hope that would span star systems, laying the foundation for the Trail of Saint Evisser. The journey of Kelkannis Evisser began with a single step, yet it would stretch across the void, connecting worlds through faith and devotion. Having received what he believed to be a divine mandate from the Emperor himself, Evisser left Solshan 19th with only his faith and a handful of followers. This small group, bound by their shared belief in the Emperor's grace, would become the nucleus of what would later be known as the Trail of Saint Evisser. Evisser's pilgrimage was unlike anything the Imperium had seen. He travelled not as a conquering warlord or a grandiose cleric, but as a humble servant of the Emperor, his presence marked by miracles that seemed to defy reason. As he moved from world to world, tales spread of his ability to heal the sick, calm raging storms, and banish the darkness from even the most forsaken places. Whether these miracles were divine intervention, the work of advanced imperial technologies, or sheer coincidence, they inspired unwavering devotion among those who witnessed them. On every world he visited, Evisser left a lasting mark. Shrines were erected to commemorate his presence, some modest and others grand cathedrals built by grateful populations who saw him as a living symbol of the Emperor's will. These shrines became the foundation stones of the Trail of Saint Evisser, linking disparate worlds through a shared reverence for the saint. One of the most significant stops on his journey was the volcanic world of Volcanis Ultor. Here, Evisser and his followers endured extreme hardships, traversing molten wastelands to reach isolated settlements. It was said that Evisser's prayers shielded them from certain death, and that the Emperor's light shone through him in the most desperate moments. The shrine built on Volcanis Ultor would later become a key waypoint on the trail, its fiery forges a symbol of endurance and unbreakable faith. Another pivotal moment came on the verdant world of Farfallen, where Evisser's arrival was marked by a miraculous event. Barren fields, long scorched by war, suddenly bloomed with life. This event cemented his reputation as a miracle worker and drew thousands to his cause. Farfallen would later become a major pilgrimage site, its fields a living testament to the saint's influence. The pilgrimage of Evisser was not without opposition. He faced resistance from planetary governors who viewed him as a threat to their authority, as well as from renegade elements and heretical cults who sought to snuff out his burgeoning following. Despite this, Evisser pressed on, his faith unshaken. His growing movement attracted not only the devout, but also imperial authorities who saw in him a tool to bolster the emperor's worship across vulnerable regions of the Segmentum Solar. By the time Evisser reached the last stages of his journey, the trail had already begun to take shape. A network of star systems, bound together by the shared memory of his presence, formed a spiritual corridor that united the faithful. Pilgrims began to follow in his footsteps, retracing the path he had walked and visiting the sacred sites he had left behind. The Trail of Saint Evisser became more than a collection of shrines. It became a symbol of hope and unity in an Imperium often fractured by war, bureaucracy, and heresy. For Evisser, it was a fulfillment of the vision he had received amidst the ashes of Solshan 19th, a light for the Emperor that would shine across the stars. The Trail of Saint Evisser was defined by the worlds it connected, planets imbued with faith and devotion, each bearing the mark of the saint's miraculous journey. These key locations became the spiritual anchors of the trail, drawing pilgrims from across the Segmentum Solar and beyond. Each world told its own story, shaped by Evisser's presence and the faith that followed in his wake. The oceanic world of Solshan 99, where Evisser's pilgrimage began, remained the heart of his legend. Its hive cities, precariously perched on vast artificial platforms above endless seas, were scarred by the orc war that had ravaged the planet. Yet, it was from these scars that Evisser's faith emerged, and Solshan 99 became a place of pilgrimage. The primary shrine, a towering aquiline monument built on the ruins of Evisser's original administratum offices, is a testament to the resilience of faith born in adversity. Volcanis Ultor, a volcanic wasteland scarred by molten rivers and searing ash storms, was among the most arduous stops on Evisser's pilgrimage. The shrine built in his honor stands atop an active lava flow, its structure said to be impervious to the relentless heat due to the Emperor's blessing. Pilgrims endure grueling treks through the hostile environment to reach the shrine, a journey that serves as a test of their faith. For many, the glowing forges of Volcanis Ultor symbolize the refining fire of the Emperor's will. Farfallen's transformation remains one of the most celebrated miracles of Evisser's journey. When he arrived on this war-torn agri-world, its once fertile plains had been reduced to barren wastelands. Legend holds that Evisser's prayers caused the fields to burst into bloom, an act that renewed the world's productivity and inspired generations of devotion. Today, the fields of Farfallen are meticulously maintained, their vibrant colours a reminder of the saint's presence and the Emperor's grace. The industrial world of Margos Omicron was a stark contrast to the natural beauty of Farfallen. Its subterranean cities, carved deep into geothermal fissures, were dark, oppressive places dominated by the Mechanicus. Evisser's arrival brought a rare moment of hope to the workers who toiled in the forges. He spoke of the Emperor's light reaching even the darkest depths, and a shrine was built within the caverns to honor his visit. Pilgrims journey into the depths to witness this sanctum, enduring the suffocating heat and stifling air as a test of their faith. Though not visited by Evisser directly, the fortress world of Trepitos became a vital administrative hub for the trail after his death. The Ordo Hereticus established their presence here, overseeing the spiritual governance of the trail. Trepitos now houses extensive archives detailing Evisser's journey and the miracles attributed to him, making it a key destination for those seeking to understand the saint's legacy. Each of these worlds contributed to the spiritual power of the trail, serving as beacons of faith in an Imperium often overshadowed by despair. While some of these planets have since faded into obscurity or been ravaged by war, their legacy endures in the hearts of the pilgrims who continue to walk the Trail of Saint Evisser. The Trail of Saint Evisser, once a thriving spiritual artery of the Imperium, began to decline as the galaxy itself descended further into turmoil. What had been a beacon of hope for the faithful became a fragmented, neglected shadow of its former glory. The causes of this decline were as varied as the worlds along the trail, each suffering from the unrelenting challenges of the 41st millennium. The Imperium is a vast and ever-changing machine, and the economic realities of its myriad worlds are often dictated by the ebb and flow of trade routes. For the Trail of Saint Evisser, these shifts proved catastrophic. Key worlds that once prospered from pilgrim traffic found themselves bypassed by new warp lanes and trade corridors. As commerce dwindled, so too did the resources needed to maintain the sacred shrines and infrastructure of the trail. Planets like Volcanis Ultor, whose volatile environment demanded constant upkeep, saw their populations dwindle as off-world supplies became scarcer. Farfallen, once a symbol of miraculous renewal, struggled to maintain its famed fields as its agricultural exports declined. The abandonment of these worlds marked the first fractures in the trail's once proud legacy. Without the means to preserve them, the grand shrines and cathedrals of the trail began to fall into disrepair. Structures that had once inspired awe were reduced to ruins, their once pristine altars overgrown or buried beneath the sands of time. Entire sections of the trail became uninhabitable due to environmental collapse or planetary upheavals. On some worlds, the faithful remained, clinging to their belief in Saint Evisser, even as their surroundings crumbled. Others abandoned their homes entirely, leaving behind ghostly remnants of once thriving pilgrimage sites. The trail's physical decay mirrored the fading memory of its significance within the wider Imperium. As the 13th Black Crusade loomed, the forces of chaos took notice of the trail and its spiritual significance. Cults dedicated to the ruinous powers infiltrated its sacred sites, corrupting the faith of vulnerable populations. On Farfallen, fields that had once bloomed with life became blackened by chaos rituals. On other worlds, governors turned heretical, using their authority to twist the trail into a network of false devotion to the dark gods. The Imperium itself was not without blame. Infighting among planetary rulers and conflicts with neighboring systems further destabilized the trail. The ecclesiarchy, stretched thin by the demands of a galaxy at war, struggled to reclaim these worlds from chaos and restore their sanctity. Despite the collapse, the Trail of Saint Evisser was never fully extinguished. The faithful persisted, travelling in smaller numbers and enduring greater hardships to walk in the saints' footsteps. The shrines that remained intact became isolated havens of faith, their keepers fiercely devoted to preserving what little was left. The Ordo Hereticus and the Adeptus Sororitas also played a role in stemming the trail's decline, launching campaigns to cleanse heretical corruption and protect what remained of its legacy. However, their efforts were often reactive, unable to match the scale of the decay and chaos infiltration. The fall of the trail was not the end of its story, but a reflection of the wider struggles of the Imperium itself. What was once a vibrant network of faith became a somber reminder of the Imperium's fragility. Yet, even in its diminished state, the trail continued to inspire those who sought solace in the Emperor's light. As the galaxy reeled under the shadow of Abaddon the Despoiler's 13th Black Crusade, the Trail of Saint Evisser became a battleground for the soul of the Imperium. The Chaos Gods, ever watchful for opportunities to undermine the Emperor's faith, turned their gaze to the once sacred network of shrines and pilgrimage routes. What followed was a brutal and desperate struggle between the faithful and the corrupting forces of chaos. The trail's decline had created fertile ground for heretical influence. On several key worlds, chaos cults began to emerge, their followers blending into the disillusioned and impoverished populations. Farfallen, the once miraculous agri-world, saw its verdant fields twisted into grotesque gardens of corruption, feeding the rituals of cultists who worshipped Nurgle. On Volcanis Ultor, the fiery shrine dedicated to Saint Evisser became a focal point for Tzeentchian schemers who sought to manipulate the remaining faithful into unwittingly aiding their plans. The most significant threat, however, came from a shadowy chaos cult dedicated to summoning Gargatuloth, the Prince of 1,000 Faces. This demon prince of Tzeentch sought to use the trail's spiritual energy as a conduit to manifest in the material realm. The cult's efforts centered on corrupting the trail's largest shrine on Solshan 19th, intending to turn it into a beacon of chaos. The corruption of the trail did not go unnoticed. the Ordo Malleus dispatched a strike force of Grey Knights, led by Justicar Alaric, to investigate and purge the growing threat. These elite warriors, sworn to protect the Imperium from the horrors of the Warp, were uniquely equipped to confront the forces of chaos. Their investigation uncovered the extent of the corruption, as well as the cult's ultimate goal, the summoning of Gargatuloth. The Grey Knights launched a relentless campaign to cleanse the Trail, battling heretical forces across multiple worlds. Their battles were not only physical, but also spiritual, as the presence of chaos threatened to unravel the fragile faith of the remaining pilgrims and shrine keepers. The climax of this campaign occurred on Solstia 19, where the cultists' rituals had nearly reached fruition. The Grey Knights, supported by the Ordo Hereticus and the Sisters of Battle from the Order of the Bloody Rose, launched an all-out assault on the corrupted shrine. The battle was a harrowing clash of faith and heresy, with the forces of the Imperium fighting to prevent the materialization of Gargatuloth. Justicar Alaric personally led the charge into the heart of the shrine, where the cult's leaders were conducting their dark rites. The battle culminated in a desperate confrontation with the demon prince itself, which had begun to breach the material plane. Through sheer force of will and the Emperor's grace, Alaric and his Grey Knights banished the demon back to the Warp, though at great cost. The victory on Solstia 19 marked a turning point for the Trail, but it came at a heavy price. Entire worlds were left devastated by the conflict, and many shrines remained scarred by chaos corruption. Yet, the defeat of Gargatuloth inspired a resurgence of faith among the surviving pilgrims. For a time, the Trail once again became a symbol of the Emperor's light prevailing over the darkness. The intervention of the Grey Knights and their allies ensured that the Trail would not be entirely lost to chaos. However, the scars of the 13th Black Crusade lingered, a grim reminder of the Imperium's eternal struggle against the forces of heresy. The Trail of Saint Evisser has long been a source of spiritual significance for the Imperium, and its defense during the 13th Black Crusade required more than the might of the Grey Knights alone. The Adeptus Sororitas, and in particular the Sisters of the Order of the Bloody Rose, were called upon to protect the Trail from the chaos forces threatening to extinguish its sanctity. Their intervention would become one of the most defining moments in the Trail's tumultuous history. As chaos corruption spread through the Trail, the ecclesiarchy recognized the need for decisive action to safeguard its sacred sites. The Order of the Bloody Rose, known for their fiery zeal and unyielding devotion, responded to the call with overwhelming force. Deploying from their convents, these Sisters of Battle brought with them not only military precision, but an unshakable faith that served as a weapon against the heretical forces they faced. Their mission was twofold: to protect the Trail's remaining shrines from desecration, and to root out the chaos cults that had infiltrated its worlds. The Order quickly established a presence on key planets, including Volcanis Ultor, Farfallen, and Solstia 19, using their fortified positions to wage a crusade of purification. One of the most desperate battles fought by the Sisters occurred on Volcanis Ultor, where the forces of chaos had laid siege to Hive Superior, a city built around one of the Trail's most significant shrines. The Hive's defenders, already weakened by years of neglect and internal strife, struggled to hold the line against waves of heretics and demon-possessed cultists. When the Sisters of the Bloody Rose arrived, they turned the tide of battle. With their bolters blazing and hymnals echoing through the ashen skies, they pushed back the chaos forces in a series of brutal engagements. The streets of Hive Superior became a battlefield of faith and fury, with the Sisters using flamers and melter weapons to cleanse the heretical taint. The shrine at the heart of the Hive was nearly overrun during the siege, but a heroic last stand by Canoness Tressa Moraine and her squad held back the heretical onslaught long enough for reinforcements to arrive. The shrine was preserved, and the victory on Volcanis Ultor became a rallying point for the faithful across the Trail. On Farfallen, the Sisters of the Bloody Rose faced a different kind of battle. The once bountiful fields had been twisted into nightmarish landscapes by the influence of Nurgle, and the air itself was thick with pestilence. The cultists who had taken hold of the planet used these corrupted lands to their advantage, ambushing the Sisters and using disease as a weapon. Despite these challenges, the Sisters pressed on. They launched a series of surgical strikes to destroy Chaos strongholds and reclaim the desecrated shrines. The purification of Farfallen was achieved not only through firepower, but through faith, as the sisters conducted mass blessings and prayers to cleanse the land. By the end of the campaign, Farfallen was no longer a blighted wasteland, but a place of renewed hope and pilgrimage. The Sisters of Battle did more than fight battles. They rekindled the faith of the Imperium's citizens. Their presence on the trail inspired those who had nearly given up hope, showing that the Emperor's light could still shine even in the darkest times. The shrines they defended became sanctuaries for the faithful, and their victories against chaos ensured that the Trail of Saint Evisser would endure. For the Order of the Bloody Rose, the defense of the trail was not just a military campaign, but a spiritual mission. Their actions demonstrated the power of faith when wielded as both a shield and a weapon, leaving a legacy that would be remembered by pilgrims for generations. The Trail of Saint Evisser, weathered by centuries of neglect, the ravages of chaos, and the shifting tides of the Imperium, remains a symbol of resilience and faith. Though its golden age has passed, the trail endures as a testament to the indomitable spirit of the Emperor's faithful. For those who walk its paths, it is more than a series of shrines. It is a journey of devotion, sacrifice, and hope. In the current era of the 42nd millennium, the trail is no longer the vibrant pilgrimage route it once was, but it continues to draw the devout from across the segmentum solar. Pilgrims, often travelling at great personal risk, trace the steps of Saint Evisser in search of spiritual enlightenment or miraculous healing. Though the numbers of pilgrims have dwindled, their faith remains undiminished, a beacon of light in an otherwise grim galaxy. The shrines along the trail vary greatly in their condition. Some, like the towering monument on Solshan 19th, remain well maintained due to their proximity to larger populations or ecclesiarchy resources. Others, such as the shrine on Volcanis Ultor, stand as crumbling relics of a bygone era, preserved only by the devotion of local keepers and the faith of those who make the perilous journey to visit them. The legacy of Saint Evisser lies not only in the physical trail, but in the ideals it represents. In a galaxy beset by war, heresy, and existential dread, the trail serves as a reminder that faith can endure even in the face of overwhelming adversity. The miracles attributed to Saint Evisser, whether real or symbolic, inspire countless souls to resist despair and remain steadfast in their devotion to the Emperor. Evisser's journey has also taken on a metaphorical significance, representing the spiritual path of every faithful servant of the Imperium. Just as he overcame impossible odds to spread the Emperor's light, so too are the faithful called to persevere in their own trials, no matter how dire. The ecclesiarchy continues to view the trail as a valuable tool for bolstering faith across the Imperium. Efforts are ongoing to restore some of the more prominent shrines and to protect the trail from further corruption. The Ordo Hereticus, ever vigilant against the return of chaos, maintains a presence on key worlds along the trail, ensuring that heretical influences are swiftly rooted out. Despite these efforts, the trail remains fragile. The galaxy's unending conflicts and the Imperium's stretched resources mean that many of its worlds remain vulnerable. Yet even this precarious state reflects the truth of the Imperium itself, a realm defined by its ability to endure no matter the odds. For those who walk the trail, Saint Evisser is not a distant historical figure, but a living presence in their hearts. His story is told and retold, each retelling a testament to his unwavering faith and the miracles that marked his journey. Though the exact details of his life and deeds may have faded into myth, the power of his example endures. Evisser's memory also serves as a rallying point for unity in a fractured Imperium. On worlds along the trail, his name is invoked in times of crisis, a symbol of hope that can bridge divides and inspire collective action. Whether in the fiery forges of Volcanis Ultor or the fields of Farfallen, the spirit of Saint Evisser lives on. The Trail of Saint Evisser is, in many ways, a microcosm of the Imperium itself, a network of worlds bound together by faith, scarred by war, and constantly threatened by forces that seek to undo it. Yet, like the Imperium, it endures. As long as there are those willing to walk its paths, to brave its trials, and to keep the memory of Saint Evisser alive, the trail will remain a light in the darkness.